on a different stream. If you're just joining us and watching this, we've had absolutely nothing but problems trying to get this to work. So I'm really sorry. This is now turning into a Romany Pirates disaster. Okay.
Let's see if people are...
We'll just wait for a few people to join, hopefully on this stream. So basically what's happened, if you're watching this back, is that we've essentially tried to go live, and then we've set up, I think we've set up 2 streams somehow, basically. So...
It's just gone a bit mad. We don't know what we're doing, we're just giving it a go.
I did a test run earlier and it worked absolutely perfect, and so I thought, oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Now the only problem we've got now is that I can't see your chats on this. Let me try and get this chat up. What a nightmare. All messages are visible. I want that one. Yay! Here we go.
Hey,
hello.
Hello everyone.
That took some doing, didn't it? Oh my god. So I'd done it earlier, I'd set it all up and Emma were like, oh, is it working? I said, yeah, it's fine, it'll be fine. And then it wasn't fine, obviously. So thank you all.
Hi Victoria.
Thank you for joining us. So yeah, it's this is the first live we've done. Hey Alan, nice to see you. Can everybody hear us all right? Because the audio is still a mess. We're still waiting for the new mic. Just comment if you can hear us. Anybody out there? Yay!
Yes, good. Oh, thank you, Alan. We knew you'd be on ball.
So yeah, the lighting's not great either in here, so apologies for that. So to update everybody, we basically thought, oh, what should we do with this week's episode? Yeah, I know.
I'm going to try and change the lights over.
We'll try and change the lights over. Hey Andy, how you doing? So we're just going to try and get the lights a little bit. Oh, hang on. Hey, there we go. Look at that. I can see myself now. So yeah, basically we thought, oh, what should we do with this week's episode? And I said, oh, why don't we try a live? We've never done a live before, so this is either going to be really good and really funny, or it's going to be absolutely terrible.
It's been a bit of a hectic few weeks, hasn't it?
It's been crazy, and this last week we've basically just been working on the van. So as you know, Romany needed some upgrades before. Well, Emma's been working on the van, because obviously my DIY skills are about the level of a goldfish trying to swim outside of a fish tank. So Emma's done like most of the electrics now on the van.
Do you know, I'm so proud of myself, honestly. I'd got it all sort of wired up, and then I went to test it, and I switched the fan on and it didn't come on, and honestly, it could have broke down in tears. I'd been doing it for like days and days, 10-hour days straight, and I could have just broken down in tears, and I didn't know what was wrong. And it's the, once we get past the wiring bit, it's the technical bit, where it's all the Bluetooth machines and all that stuff that just goes whoo like that with me. So I just had to press a button on that, and then it were all working. So we've got solar power, we've got
fans, working. So we're not gonna roast to death.
We've got lights, we've got plug sockets. Still got a bit to do yet, because I've bought a fridge that's like, we needed a new fridge because we use like obviously our larder unit.
You should see the size of this fridge.
It's big enough for like a family of 10. So I don't know how I'm going to manage that one yet. There's not enough room in the van at the minute. But anyway, at least we've got electrics, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got electric. So to update everybody, obviously we're back in the cottage. We had like a few days to kind of come back to the cottage, get the work done before we set off again. So we would have liked to have been kind of on the road now. The original plan, if you watched last week's episode, was to kind of venture down slowly, but we were that far behind with everything. No. It just didn't happen. So we're back in the cottage. So we basically got like packing still to do and all the rest of it.
We're so far behind because we don't plan, do we? We don't plan, we don't organise. It's just not our strong point whatsoever. So if anybody's got any questions, by the way, you want to ask us anything, treat this as a bit of a Q&A and just stick your questions in the comments. We've got a few questions that we've written down that people have been asking.
Everybody's asking us, like, on other social media platforms, certain questions. So we thought, well, what better thing to do than to kind of do a live, answer people's questions. I'm guessing for the people that usually watch us from America, will be kind of watching us later because it'll be like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is over there. So we've kind of got questions that people have been asking us over the last few weeks from Instagram and Facebook.
So we don't miss anybody out.
So that we don't miss anybody out. But if you have got kind of a live question, then we'll. The plan is there is no plan.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, the plan is definitely there's no plan.
But they're always the best adventures, aren't they? I think if you try and plan something, like you end up. I don't know. It just restricts.
We were just laughing like yesterday because this is not new for us doing this. In terms of last minute before we go with a van, because we've done it every single time we're making like a big journey. We always end up getting a new van, and we always end up having to do everything out in the new van.
Right at the last minute. So.
Do you remember that time we got the Mercedes Sprinter?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was just honestly, we got a Sprinter, and we had friends helping us. Right up until the very, very, very last minute before we went. I mean, literally the same day. And at that point, the kids were younger, weren't they? We were taking them, we were going travelling. And we were doing Europe again, actually, weren't we, at that point? And we were literally building in everything at the last second. And so what happened was we built like a plywood roof on it, and we did it inside in the ceiling, and we didn't have a chance to cover it in fabric like we wanted. So we just had to set off, didn't we? And then was it France we got to when we got pulled over? Yeah,
we got pulled over in France. So coming back through customs, and when you go through the customs, there's like police checkpoints. If anybody's been, you'll know what I'm talking about. And so these police were like pulled to one side, and they had these like really big dogs and guns.
And guns, yeah, they were all stood there with guns. Honestly, the kids were just shaking.
And it was just a standard procedure thing, right? Like when you go through an airport, they'll pull a random person to one side, and it was one of those. But because of the way we'd set the van up, it were almost like we had a false ceiling in the van. So these police officers were like, roof, and we're like, oh yeah, it's just the ceiling.
They started calling more of them over, and they were all coming over and pointing and looking, and they were talking about ripping it all down. Yeah, they were like, literally begging them, please don't take it down, because they thought we'd stashed contraband above the room.
Which so we had them.
You'd think we'd learn, wouldn't you, from doing stuff last minute, but we just never do we?
No.
But never mind. Do you want to answer some of these questions?
Yeah, let's get onto some questions.
Right.
If this is rubbish, I'm really sorry. Because we've never done a live. I just thought, it'd be interesting to kind of do a live. So if it's absolutely terrible, I'm so sorry. But we'll make the most of it anyway. So
first question.
We hadn't even written down who sent these in.
No, I can't
remember who sent what. Anyway,
it don't matter. And some people have sent the same question.
Yeah, they have. It's kind of a general question. So first one is: have you always done van life? Yeah, for the last 10 years we've done
longer.
Van life.
I think it's
longer
about
now. Yeah,
12 years maybe.
Is it 11,
12 years maybe now? I think. Yeah, I think it's about 11, 12 years that we've done.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah,
been travelling in a van, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Next question is: have you been to Europe before?
Yes.
Well, yeah, we just answered that. Yeah, we have. Yeah,
loads of times. So prior to COVID, we used to do Europe every single year. We'd just take off to Europe and venture on.
First few times we went, it were more like a direct thing to get the kids to a destination, because obviously kids are not as great with travelling. But then as it went on, we sort of investigated more places and looked at more stuff and what have you, didn't we? So has travel changed you? Oh, that's not a question.
I would say yes, it has changed me. I think any kind of travel, it kind of opens your mind, it expands your mind. So travel's definitely changed me in that sense, I think, in the sense of the world's a bigger place than what's already around you, if that makes sense. So it expands your horizons. And
I think for me it's just been I know what you mean. It's because you're seeing more things, aren't you?
Yeah.
So culturally, you're seeing more stuff, which broadens your mind. But you're also meeting more people, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah,
and you're growing confidence because you learn how to do things better. You learn how to navigate better. You learn how to drive better.
I think in terms as well of things that people say to you when you're on the road. One thing that always sticks in my mind is we weren't always as free as what we appear to be now. And so before, like, this were all kind of new to us, and we'd ended up, I think it was Spain or Ibiza, and this lady had said, I want to be free, I want to move here, I want to be free like you are, to this lady behind this kind of stall. And I'll never forget what she said to me. And she said, no. She says, freedom, she said, is not out here. She said, freedom is in here. And she pointed to her heart. And that kind of always stuck with me, that no matter where you are in life, no matter what you're doing, you can be free within your own situation, right? And that's always stuck with me.
That's really true, is that. And I think otherwise you're in danger of always trying to reach for the next thing that you view as being freedom, aren't you? And you're constantly chasing it.
Yeah.
And actually then you're just a slave to that. So then you're not free at all anyway. So I think it's just whatever, freedom means to you, isn't it, really? And in
that sense, travel has changed the way we look at things, I guess.
I think it's made us more confident as well to try new stuff as well, aren't you? Like doing van electric stuff, like in terms of van life and stuff. Doing van electric stuff like that. We'd never done all like that before, had we? In fact, our first ever van literally had those cigarette lighter sockets in back.
Yeah, that's all we had.
And that were it, wasn't it? There were nothing. We didn't have anything. we took the kids in that as well, didn't we? And it were absolutely red hot. I'm pretty sure it were not good these days.
it were a little Renault Traffic we had, right? And we spray painted it. My mate had spray painted it for us in like fairies and dragons and stuff like that. And the van were absolutely rammed with everything. We took far too much for this trip, basically, and we had both the kids in the back. And
we had those bus seats fitted in, didn't we? We fitted those so they were safe in back and strapped in and what have you.
We had them, and then when we got to Ibiza, we picked up a couple of hitchhikers. They had two dogs.
They got it back.
So What's
definitely.
What's the next question?
Do you ever argue?
Yeah, all the time. She does my head in.
I don't think we argue that. We don't really argue that much, do we? To be honestly, we don't, do we?
Honestly, we don't. And everybody says to us, "Oh, you must argue," especially like when we're weeks and weeks and weeks in a van. Like, you must argue. But we don't. I bet I can honestly count on one hand the amount of arguments that we've ever had, like serious arguments.
Yeah. We don't bicker or anything like that. It's mainly because I just say yes to everything. That's why. That's my
the secret.
Granddad taught him, didn't he?
Yeah,
so before we got married, my granddad said the best words you can ever learn before you get married is "Sorry, love, I was wrong." And you stuck by that, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. That's why we don't argue.
I find it harder when you're in when we're in cottage and we've got more space around us. I actually find that harder because you're not next to each other all the time. You're not learning how to be kind of together all the time, are you? So I find that harder. Yeah. Why do you travel?
Freedom.
Yeah, freedom. Meet people. To live life, you only live once, it's not a rehearsal.
No.
Somebody once said to me, Reese finds this quite pessimistic, but somebody once said to me...
I don't even know what that means.
To get a tape measure and pull it out to the average age, right? So whether that be like 85 or whatever it is these days, and look at where you are on the tape measure. And when you're in your 20s, you're kind of right at the beginning of that tape measure and you feel like you've got ages to go. But then when you get to your 30s, your 40s, you're looking at what you've got left and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm like halfway, in between now. And then them last so many years of my life, like I might not be able to do as much if my health's not good or whatever. So it kind of shows you in a physical sense, like how much time we have. And it's so precious. And I think it's just about filling life with memories. And my feeling of like the whole reason why we're here on earth is just to, it's encounters with people. It's to talk to people. It's to help people. Even paying somebody a random compliment in the middle of the street. If you're walking on the street and you think, oh, that person's got a nice dress on, and you say it to them, you don't know what that might mean to them that day. So I think that, it's like travel's all about that, really, isn't it? Meeting people.
It's just, and mine's the same. Like, it's total freedom. Like when we're on the road for the length of time we are, or when we get the boat finally up and running, it's that total freedom that it gives. Like, that's why we always say write your own story, right? Because life is about writing that story. Don't just exist, do whatever it is that makes you feel free. And for us, it's traveling. You know, for you guys, it might be something completely different, but it's whatever makes life. Every second counts. That's how I've always viewed it. That every single second counts. And in truth be known, you don't know when. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be here next week, do I? Like, nobody knows when their time's up, essentially. And so it's just grabbing every single moment you can in whatever way you can. And so for me, why do we travel? It's for that freedom. It's to find life, you know, to feel like we're living, essentially, I think.
So, how easy is it to park for free? Oh, we did a video. We did a vlog on this at one point, didn't we?
There's a vlog on Outer Wild Camp, essentially. We've always found it, because I know this is a concern of a lot of people, and a few people kind of sent us this question in about it. And we've always found that it's so easy, apart from obviously when we got an egg thrown at us. If you haven't watched that.
But that's like one time
in years and years and years of doing van life. And so I've forgotten the question.
And we never get moved on or anything like that, do we? We never.
How easy is it to park for free? Yeah, so it's easy. Like, so we use an app called Park for Night, basically. And what Park for Night does is it shows you, live it to the full, Gary, definitely. So it shows you like where you can park, and it's even got stars, so it'll rate it like 5-star spot or whatever. And we've always used that, haven't we? Go on Park for Night. So let's say we're in Newcastle. Like, we'll just literally type in Newcastle and Park for Night, and that'll show you like where you can park, basically.
And you can see like pictures of the spot, because most of the time people take pictures. You can read the comments, so you can see updated comments, like if somebody stayed there recently and said, oh, now you can't park here anymore, there's signs up or whatever. So we use that, and then other times we'll quite often go on there as if we're heading for one of those destinations, but then we'll come across somewhere else and we'll be like, oh no, let's stay here, it's next to a river or whatever. I just think it's just, don't be disrespectful, just don't park outside somebody's house.
Yeah.
Don't block people's view. Don't park where there's signs that say no parking. Try and arrive late and leave early. And don't leave rubbish, because the problem when people leave rubbish is that's when the signs go up then, because it upsets everybody in that village or town or whatever. So we always take with us like a bin liner and a litter picker, and we always make sure that we pick up the rubbish as we're going along. So, right.
How much do you think it's going to cost? I think that we're, in regards to the Europe adventure, a lot. No. I don't know how much it's going to cost.
Well, we did it in our Renault Traffic, when we used to do it on like 2.5 tanks, didn't we, sort of thing. When we were going just sort of more direct when the kids were little. So it really kind of just depends. It depends on how much you're going to stop. It depends on your toll roads, all that sort of stuff. Depends on that type of stuff, really. I mean, like toll roads and what have you can go on. We go on this thing called Immovis Tag, and we make sure we've got that, which allows you to just drive straight through the toll roads and they bill you later. And that you can plan your route on that, so you can plan it like as a budget route, or like all toll roads, most direct route, or in between type of thing. So that gives you an idea, but we don't plan, so we don't know.
How difficult is it driving in Europe? So easy. Like, I always find driving in Europe a lot easier than driving in the UK. Mainly, I think, because to me, driving on their side of the road in a right-hand drive makes more sense to me. Search for Sight's great. Yeah, I've heard of that one as well, actually, like it makes more sense driving on their side of the road in a right-hand vehicle. I don't know why. Like, I'm severely dyslexic, so to me, it just makes more sense.
It just, you don't
that being that way around, if that makes sense.
You don't, like I said, sometimes, like when we've gone certain places, we've had to like hire a car over there. It's rare that we've done it, but sometimes we have, just because the van's a bit big to get to certain things that we want to see. So it's kind of like, you don't like that, do you? You don't like being on their side of the vehicle on their side. It just makes more sense being flipped.
But the roads over in Europe, France and Spain especially, are just beautiful to drive on. It's silky smooth. There's no potholes. it's just, it's if you've never driven in Europe before and you're kind of worried or whatever and you want to do it, like I'd say do it, because the roads, it's so much quieter, the roads are wider. It's just different to driving in the UK. It's not as busy and in your face, and you're not kind of having to react all the time and think as much as what you do, like especially on the motorways or what they call their toll roads, that you don't have to think. There's so much space and so much time to pre-think, if that makes sense. So you can just take it easy as well, is what I'd recommend. But yeah, driving in Europe's just fantastic.
We'd got 3 people that had left and they've come back, so now I'm feeling a bit better.
It's probably new people. They've gone.
Oh, they've gone.
No, they've gone. They might have gone to put Gretel on. They might have gone to make a brew. Might be coming back in a bit.
People have asked us as well about travelling with an animal. So since Brexit and everything, so we've had like comments about stuff like that as well. So it was so much easier before when you could just get the dog passport stuff and just it was much straightforward. Now, because you've got to get your certificate for your dog, it's more expensive. But what I have found out from somebody on one of the van life channels, so I can't remember who it was, but great advice, is that you can get the certificate, which you've got to pay a fortune for. It's like 150 quid for the certificate plus the vaccination. And then when you get to Europe, you can actually get a dog passport over there, which then again does what it used to do, which lasts them. So you can do it that way. That's all right, because we've not, Daisy's not sort of been with us that often, has she? Really, sort of. We took her abroad once.
I think so. Yeah. My mum usually looks after her if we're doing a longer trip.
Yeah, so we kind of, but now we're taking her with her everywhere that we go now, aren't we? So
comes everywhere with us.
Since COVID, she won't be left.
Good question though. What other questions?
Questions have we got? Let's have a look.
Cool. If you've got, I'm conscious that we're just kind of talking at you, and I can't see. Well, neither of us can. What you're chatting, it's something to do with how disastrously we've set this live up. But I can't scroll down and see.
You can see the chats coming up on here though.
Yeah.
They keep popping up as long as you're kind of watching them. They do keep popping up.
Okay. So now I can see.
Oh, here we go. We can see more now. Look at
that. Okay, so Alan's put, doing the same thing all the time and expecting it to turn out differently is the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
There you go, Alan. Caught me out there. Yeah, the definition of insanity. I think that was probably when we were talking about freedom, we're at, Alan, and that ability to not kind of get caught up in the in the trap.
Somebody put happy wife.
Yeah, the emptiness, happy wife, happy life. That's it.
That's very true. That is very true. Yeah.
How not to argue. I might write a book about that. So if anyone's got any more questions, I can now see on here, or I could do. It's gone again now.
I think having hobbies as well, like when you're traveling and stuff, having stuff that you do, so obviously like we have different ways of making money. So being able to be creative and having something to do so you don't get bored, that's really important.
So Andy says, when do you think the boat will be open for business? So the boat is pretty much finished now. All we're doing now essentially is waiting for the business side of things to come through. So you have to apply for different things, don't you?
Yeah, Canal and River Trust, like you've got to apply through them with a business proposal. So we've kind of altered our plans with it bit by bit over time, haven't we? From what we originally wanted to do with it. Just because I think that let's just get it passed through at the easiest way first. Mm. And then once we've got it up and running in an easy way, then we can obviously go back and ask to do something different. And I think that's always, it's like when you used to ask your mum, innit, when you were a kid and you used to be like, can I do this? Always ask for less and you might get more later on. That's the theory anyway. Yeah. So we're hoping that when we get back, that, we might have some answers, but, we'll just have to see. How's the tomato plant?
Yeah, Mr. Tom. All right. Mr. Tom's going great. Thanks, Alan.
It's all right, yeah.
I'm going to take him to Spain with me.
He's getting really tall now, but there's no tomatoes on him yet.
No, there's not tomatoes. I did repot him, Alan, though, like you said. What did you do before van life? Daisy's in the background. What did you do before van life?
We didn't. We never. You see, we never did camping because I hate camping. So I did it occasionally, but we never did out like that, did we? Really? Because I never really liked camping.
No.
We just used to, I suppose, do what everybody else normally does, and we'd go for days out, and we'd kind of, we'd drive places and do it that way. Stay in Airbnbs, stuff like that.
Yeah, our lives were very kind of, I don't like the word, but very normal before van life. So now we're going back to 12 years.
Do you know what I think it is? Is it's when we met, innit?
Yeah, when we met.
Before we met, we both had like that urge for freedom. But obviously, whether you can travel and what you can do is determined a little bit by who you're with as well and what they want to do. And so if you don't both have the exact same outlook, you don't get to really do the things that you want to do. Whereas when we met, we're just like finding a male version of me. Do you know? We're just like, we're exactly the same.
We just encouraged each other, really. And yeah, so for us, the whole van life, the whole freedom thing started when we met, really. Before that, we were always kind of quite free-spirited. Like, we used to go follow quite a lot of rock and roll bands and things like that, didn't we? And
yeah. Got a lot of concerts
both
and
of
stuff.
us did that kind of individually and together. But then, yeah, van life and the whole freedom thing sort of started when we met, really, yeah.
And we had kind of like we've had a plan, so as much as we hate planning, this has been a plan, in order to get to a point where we're more and more and more free over time. So it's been like 10 years in the making, hasn't it? And there are some people that can just down everything and take off and leave everything behind. But, there'll be a lot of people out there as well that are the same as us that had children where they couldn't just pull them out of school or take them away from all the friends or, so we had to do things sort of bit by bit.
Yeah, and that's what I meant earlier as well when I said, like, find the freedom that you can find, and I've said this like loads of times on vlogs, is that find what you can do at that moment in time, because I think a lot of people get in this trap of wanting something that they can't yet have, and then that causes a lot of frustration. So finding what freedom means to you within your own life and responsibilities and things like that.
Set small achievable stuff, just to give yourself that feeling, really. I think we're all designed to be out in nature, and if you ask most people these days what the dream is, it's no longer to live in a massive mansion with a massive car. It's like to live in a hut in the middle of the woods, because I think everybody's just dying to get back to nature and being sort of free. And as I do that every time we pass anywhere. Like, I am one of those people that's never fully happy. Like, I always want something else. I'm the opposite of like what we tell people to do, aren't I, really? Like, I'm always thinking, well, we've got the cottage, but, if we sold the cottage and we could just get like a little tiny house, because I want to go smaller all the time. Like, I want to be able to make sure I've got somewhere to come back to that makes us some money, because that's a good thing for on the road, is having money. But also for like when we get really old and if we get decrepit, But, so I'm always looking for these small buildings out everywhere and stuff.
Somebody put, where is our favourite place to camp in the UK? We'll both answer this.
I know yours.
Mine will be, I think there's a couple, because there's the one in Cornwall
that's mine.
There's a vlog that ages ago we did, like a big kind of Jurassic Coast and Cornwall and Devon thing, if you saw that, and there's a place there and it kind of overlooks the sea. And
it's just gorgeous.
Beautiful. I can't remember the name of it. If you message me on YouTube later or whatever, I'll see if I can dig it out. But also I'd say my favourite, really, if I were to pick one, is probably at the other side of Kielder Forest.
Yeah.
As you go up, as if you're going to go to Kielder Forest, which is kind of, for those that don't know, is like the northeast of England. And if you want to watch that, it's called England or Alaska or something. And we cover Kielder Forest. I'll tell you where it is. It's on the New Year's Eve episode.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That we're up at Kielder Forest, and that spot's beautiful, and it's just as you get into the Scottish borders, and there's beautiful mountains all around you, just outside Kielder Forest, which actually Kielder charge you a tenner to stay overnight. But if you drive through Kielder, on your right-hand side, just as you go over the bridge, that's where we were parked. There's
a little like tunnel and a river, and it's and the stars at night. Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous.
And Scotland being Scotland, there's a sign on saying, please feel free to park here, camp here, have a fire if you want, just be careful, or something along those lines, it says.
Yeah.
So I think that's my favourite place in the UK to camp. So yeah, if you have a look at the New Year's Eve episode, you'll be able to see that. But if you wanted to go there yourself, it's literally through Kielder Forest, and you can't miss it. It's the main road through Kielder. Go straight through it as if you're going to go into Scotland through the sign that says "Welcome to the Scottish Borders," and you'll see it on your right hand side. We're just about to retire.
I'm gonna let Reese read that one because it faded off before I had a chance to read it. I'm gonna say like abroad, like my kind of one of my favourite places to go is Pyrenees, in it. Like it's beautiful up there, but it is a nightmare up there, an absolute nightmare to kind of drive around. What was that question?
So,
then?
Is the rental easy to organise and busy? So it's Raymond talking about renting an Airbnb.
With the house, yeah. So it's it is. I set all that up on Airbnb. It's really simple. I think it's just how you want to do it. So I sound like a real kind of old battle axe on my advert because I'm really strict. This is still ultimately our home. Do you know, we're not here all the time, but it is ultimately our home. It's got, it's kind of, we don't want people to wreck it, obviously, and although, people, we have new people that move into the area and things like that when we're away, but we've got friends here as well, so we don't want people kind of ruining the property. So I think just be strict on your advert would be my advice. Be strict on it. Say what you want, what you don't want. We've never had a bad experience, touch wood, have we? Ever?
No.
We've had some
people
really
that come
people.
here, they always seem to look after it and respect it. So yeah, I think
people leave good comments, are really kind, So
I'd say it's pretty easy to set up and run. Somebody just commented there. I wish these would stay up. Andy, get a narrow boat, you won't regret it. We've got one. I don't know if that were in response to somebody else or whatever, but yeah, narrow boats are great. It's another way of being free, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because it's not. People often ask us about van life and why we do van life. Why do we enjoy van life? But it's not all the van. We love the van. The van is our home as well. Do you know? It's our home. But that's just kind of a means for travelling. It's not. Not. It's just a way to get around, isn't it?
It's from the previous question, and so it's for us, it's more that freedom and what allows you to feel free, and for us it happens to be travel and in a van rather than we're not really van life as opposed to we're travellers, we like to travel.
And having the canal boat is something that's going to be quite difficult for you to kind of get used to travelling on because it's slower, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot
slower. Well, probably for me as well, because we both like to just change our mind and do something. So we'll be down in Cornwall, and then we'll be, we're bored, let's go to Scotland, or we might be in Scotland and decide we're going to go to France, or we just want to, but we want to be there like now. so we just kind of set off, don't we? And we just go whenever we want.
We just follow the sun, which that reminds me of a story actually, following the sun. So it was a few years ago, and we were driving through Europe, and we thought we had the sat nav set up. And Emma's,
I had a backup map.
Emma's stepdad Stuart had given us a map from 1975, right? And jokingly said, if you really need to use a map, use it and follow the sun. I think he said keep the sun on your right or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, he was saying like if you're going south, keep the sun in this direction. If you're going north, keep it in this direction.
So I jokingly said, "Oh, Stuart, we won't need it. We've got a sat nav. Things have moved on since 1975 now." Anyway, so we gets to France. And I suddenly realised the sat-nav wasn't working. It just stopped working, something to do with data or whatever. And so we were left with no choice but to follow this map and follow the sun as well. So I was really conscious. So I was going round roundabouts like 3 or 4 times to try and make sure the sun were on my right-hand side because I needed to go south because we were heading to Spain.
But we did navigate. It was in the sun, didn't we? We did do it. We did actually do it. It's actually quite easy.
It is really easy. But this map was saying like, the roads didn't even exist.
No.
That existed in 1975. So the map were useless. So we slung the map in the back and literally followed the sun all the way to southern Spain. That were a lot.
Yeah, it were honestly, it were a nightmare at the time, but we had such a laugh doing it.
I needed 2 caramel lattes after that. Get them fired up.
What about that time when we went up the Pyrenees? Because I was just thinking about the fact that Pyrenees is so nice and I love it there. But we were... well, this is just because of how ridiculous I actually am. I'm completely and utterly stupid sometimes. So we were going... I was directing and Reese were driving and we were coming back up through France. And the motorway, again, we'd got a problem with sat-nav at that point.
Back up through Spain, we were driving up through Spain
towards France. Yeah, we're coming back
France.
up through Spain towards France. And the sat-nav, again, we'd got an issue with. So I were kind of trying to navigate from the map, which we've got a more up-to-date map at this point. But it said on this sign, Francia, straight on. So I'm saying to him, get off, get off, get off, get off, like that. And he's like, what? Why? And I'm saying, get off. It's wrong way. Get off. And so we came off this toll road, like their motorway, and we went down to his village. And he's like, why did you tell me to come off? And I said, well, because it's going the wrong way. And he said, we're going towards France. And I said, yeah, I know, but it said Francia. And I didn't know, honestly, did not know that they spell countries differently in different countries. Like, my name stays the same when I go to different countries. It had never occurred to me that they do that. That was one of our first ever journeys, that one.
Yeah.
And
we ended up in this little village and I went into this petrol station. I said to the guy, and I'm pointing because he didn't speak English. And I'm pointing, saying, motorway, I need to get back. And he's going, no. I'm like, what do you mean, no? I need to get home. I need to get to France. And he's like, oh, yeah, see. And he's pointing over this mountain, which were the Pyrenees Mountains. And I'm like, no, you've got to be kidding me. I said, no, I just need to get back on the toll road. No.
It's not like over here where you can just go around the roundabout and join again. So we had to go, honestly, I'm not kidding you. It was going round and round and round like this, all the way to the top. It was pitch black. Because by this point, it were night time, wasn't it? It were absolutely pitch black. There were no lights anywhere. They'd put cones to do roadworks on the inside of the mountain, so we were forced to the edge of the mountain. And we ran out of fuel. Like halfway up, the fuel light came on. We'd got no phone signal. I swear I thought we were going to die on there. Nobody were ever going to find me again. And then we pulled up, we went round this corner, and there were this village, and everything were boarded up. And there were a fueling station, but it were all boarded up. And I said, we're just going to have to stay here and hope it opens. And he's like, it's not going to open, Emma. I've been open in about 20 years.
There's no way that's going to open.
And we went to bed and we got up in the morning. And lo and behold, they took all these wooden, like, things down.
Little old lady turned up and gave me an orange juice and a croissant. They were epic. But yeah, that's one thing to know, I suppose, going back to somebody's question earlier about, is it easy to drive in Europe? Yes, but if you come off the tolls, you can't go around a roundabout and join back on them. At least that's our experience. Not in all
places. You can some, but some of them you just can't. You've got to go miles out of your way.
And bearing in mind, we're in a Mercedes Sprinter, so a lot bigger van than what Romany is. And driving a Mercedes Sprinter up in the dark at the side of a mountain with no fuel is not really recommended. I won't recommend that people do that.
Oh, it would honestly, you know, at the time when you're really panicking, you know. And,
awful.
And he were panicking. He never panics. And so when he were panicking, I started thinking, well, I really do need to worry now because he's worrying.
I knew. I could see out of my left-hand window. I knew what the drop was. I knew it was just a sheer drop. And so I'm trying to hug.
I knew I was next to edge.
I'm trying to hug this mountain. So I'm literally driving near the mountain, but because they put cones up, the cones were pushing me. I had no choice but to drive right on the edge.
I'm not kidding yet. We're literally, at times, we were like 2 inches off the edge of this mountain. Literally like 2 inches off. And I honestly thought we're just going to die.
Yeah, the empty nesters put. But now you look back and think, what a great adventure.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes always the unplanned stuff brings you these kind of trials and tribulations, but that's the stuff you laugh about, innit?
Yeah, they're the memories.
Yeah, of course it is.
That's writing your own story, innit? Like that's creating those memories.
Not that I'd do it again, but yeah.
And it's like this trip that's coming up. Like, you know, we're going to be weeks on the road, and we don't know what's going to happen at all. Like there'll be so many stories to tell. Good evening, Lewis.
Hi, Lewis.
There's going to be so many stories to tell, so many adventures that we can't possibly plan for. And what's really interesting this time is this will be the first, obviously, time we've been to Europe while we've started a YouTube channel. So, so it should be a bit of a giggle because obviously we'll be taking you guys with us, and so we look forward to all.
We
your
might be changing that thing
comments.
about we never argue.
Yeah, we might argue, but no, Europe is gonna be absolutely epic adventure, and it's even more special this time being able to share it with all you guys, really, you know. And I think on that note as well, like this channel to us, it's more than just filming. We're starting to make friends, you know. We're starting to get to know you guys, because it's a really odd relationship, isn't it, this, really? Because you're watching us now and you know us, like you've been watching us for a lot of you for months now, and so you feel like you know us, and obviously we don't know you. So it's really, and that's why we always say at the end of a vlog, please comment, like, please, because we want to get to know you as well. It's about building up a community, and we want to hear your stories as much as hopefully you enjoy watching ours. And
we do get some people will email us as well, won't they? And, you know,
people email us, and it's absolutely great. You know, you're never pestering us or anything like that. We absolutely love to hear.
And you sometimes get people that come up to you as well, which obviously, because we're moving around quite a bit, you don't always see people, but sometimes you get people that will come up to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just wave and beep, you know, as they're going past, sort of thing.
Hello.
But you will get people that come up to you and say hi. And, you know, it's really nice, that, isn't it? It's really nice. It's a bit kind of like, oh, I don't know who you are at first, you know, but it is really nice to be able to, you know, put sort of faces to the people that are watching us. It's lovely.
Yeah, and it's lovely to think that you're building a community up. You know, we both do, don't we? We look forward to people that regularly comment, and we're getting to know their stories, and it's just great.
And it means so much to us when you know, people will send us messages saying that they've been having, you know, like we're saying about just saying hello to people in the street and you know, giving somebody a compliment. People will sort of say, oh, you've really helped us through this or that, or, you know, That's amazing, absolutely amazing to think, you know, that we can do something like that and that we can help somebody through a day. I think that's absolutely amazing, is that? And it's a real privilege. We
always say, don't we, like before we start shooting any vlog, if we can make one person smile, it's been worth it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's but yeah, keep following us, coming along with us, because we love it, don't we? It's really nice to have everybody's comments.
So I think that's it. We've been on for 42 minutes now. And my voice is starting to go. Dobbs, hey man, how you doing? Nice to see you. Dobbs always comments, and from across in America. How amazing is that people are watchers in America? Hey man, nice to see you.
And if anybody, while you're on here as well, if anybody's got any ideas of things that they want us to go and see, you know, while we're in Europe, we've already got tons of people that have messaged about places as well. So we might, you know, probably won't get around to everybody's place. But you know, if there's any recommendations for hot springs, because I really, really want to go to hot springs. It's probably gonna be boiling, isn't it? Like, you want hot springs in UK, don't you? Not when you're abroad when it's red hot. But if there's any recommendations for that, or anywhere you think that, you know, you'd want us to go see, but please bear in mind I'm not a city person.
No.
I
want to see, you know, like them what do they call them, chateaus, like you'd see in a fairy tale, right? I've got one in mind, and if you can tell me where this is, even if it don't exist or whatever, but I've got it in my mind that it'd be like coming off a cliff, like, do you know what I mean?
So you want a chateau coming off edge of a cliff?
Yeah, I want a chateau.
How are we going to get to that?
I just want to see it. I just want to see it. Like, somewhere in France, there must be like a chateau surrounded by mountains and cliffs.
Like Dick Strawbridge's chateau, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
like a
castle.
Thing.
Yeah, I want to see something like that.
We've got an obsession with castles. Us.
And if anybody knows, Lewis, gutted I joined late. We're going to do more lives. So if you guys have enjoyed this, we can do more lives. That's not a problem. It's actually been easier doing a live than I thought. But yeah, if anybody's got that, and any places to kind of wild swim, you know, I love my wild swimming, so I want to do some freezing cold wild swimming as well.
What we might try and do as well is, while we're away, and making no promises, because it all kind of depends on day signal, but what we might try and do while we're away is to sort of give you a live, you know, maybe throw a couple in, like, you know, during the week times, so it's not, you're not just kind of stuck with Mondays. We'll see if we can maybe pop one in or something like that. Daisy is just down here. I don't know if you just said that, but I'll say hello to you before we sign off.
Colorado Springs. That must be amazing, Dobbs.
Say hello,
There
Daisy.
she is.
Look.
Who is he? Do you want to go on YouTube? Do you want to go on YouTube, Daisy?
Say
Whenever
hello.
you say, do you want to go on YouTube? She gets right excited. Say hello, Daisy.
Hello. Yay, say hello.
All the best. Keep the videos rolling. We'll be looking out for you on the cut. Oh yeah, nice one, Gary. Yeah, we'll definitely, hopefully see you out there.
What?
Somebody's saying you're a little darling.
Oh, you are right. Yes, I know. You're the most favourite thing. Everybody watches for you, I think. They do. They do.
So, yeah, I think that's it, guys. If you've kind of missed it, I'm presuming and hoping, I don't know, because if you're just joining us, we had an absolute disastrous start to this live, and it was just, I messed it up, basically. So, but I'm hoping that you guys that have missed the full episode can kind of go back and watch it from the beginning.
Yeah, we're not sure how that works, but we think it should record it.
If you can't, for whatever reason, and I've completely made a mess of this, then obviously we will see you in Europe on Monday at 8 p.m. So yeah, I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and
make sure you do write your own story.
Yeah, keep writing your own story, and we'll catch you Monday 8 p.m.
Good night, everybody.
See you all later.
Bye.
I want to try and turn this off now.